Well, some of you may or may not already be aware, and it's certainly come to my attention that in remembrance of a great man, a brilliant, wonderful, wonderful great man that is, who was born on the 27th of October 64 years ago, which was the 27th of October 1961. This man, he certainly needs no introduction, the late Captain Graham the Baron Hesketh. So in his loving memory, today marks his first birthday anniversary since his saddening death on the 4th of March 2025, after what was then the final terminal cancer battle. He was only 63 at the time. Graham was an interesting man. He led quite an interesting life. You know, growing up as a Scouser boy in Liverpool, England, in East Sussex. You know, he joined the army just shortly before his 18th birthday, 46 years ago in 1979. He only did 3 years in the army because he hated the army, as he's spoken very many times before he died about his experiences in the army. And might I dare say, were they interesting stories. You know, he's had many ups and downs in his life, as all of us do. But there's one thing that could never take away from him. He was the epitome of kindness and friendliness. And me personally, had, despite having never met him in person, had the privileged, fortunate experience of having a friendship with him. Despite it being an online friendship, I felt it had it had great meaning to me. It was meaningfully valuable, having a friendship with Graham. I first heard from Graham shortly after His Majesty the King Charles III's coronation on the 7th of May 2023, 2 years ago now. Because it was the month before my birthday when I first heard from him. It was a video I'd done in Brighton, and I heard the story about how he found out about me. He was looking at videos of Brighton, and then my video just popped up, and he commented. I replied. And then he took the liberty in subscribing. And I heard from him off and on sporadically ever since, until he died. And, oh my word, were they some of the nicest comments I'd got. I never once expected it, but I did. It happened. One of those things happened in a way, what have you. It wasn't until months later that I joined his community. And that live stream was a wonder, a blast. Oh my word, did I enjoy it. All the newfound friends, and many of whom I'm still happily in touch with today. And some of whom, one of his former mods, who was his mod up until his death, is my mod. Which I never thought would happen, but it did. Which he became my mod shortly before he died, because it was almost a year after I joined his content that I took to the skies with live streaming content myself. That is, you know, we really did some interesting content, Graham did, whether it was old videos of experiences in mainland England, and also showing Spain and Gibraltar, talking about his army experiences or his childhood and youth, and talking about what certain meanings and certain things that go on in the army and what you expect, what have you, air gun reviews, that sort of thing. He was a genuinely interesting man, and he was really, but what was most important of all about somebody like Graham, he was consummate. He was a consummate, and his content was extremely wholesome. And it's really, you know, it's a content that we all very much need in this day and age, and he showed good proof of it, despite the fact that the only downside to Graham was was when he went to jail. Despite the fact that he was a convicted drug smuggler, and after he got out of jail, he turned completely everything around. And what I'd say on that is, it doesn't matter where you start, what matters most is where you end up. And Graham himself proved himself worthy that despite getting involved in a certain criminal activity, you can turn it all around. And that is exactly what he did. From convicted drug smuggler, ex-con, to eventually gaining his pilot's license and becoming a pilot. He didn't fly for a full-time job, unfortunately, but he earned his pilot's license. But he also did teach flying at one point and really does know the full concepts and basics of the flying. He did up until he died. And all that, as we all know very, very well. I mean, he certainly proved himself, and that's something he should be proud of. Shouldn't be proud that he committed the crime, but he should be proud that he turned it all around. You know, because some ex-cons, they reoffend repeatedly and have to go back in and out of jail. But with Graham, it was not him. You know. And like I said, in this philosophy, it doesn't matter where you start. What matters most is where you end up. On the whole. You know. I've had some marvellous experiences and made some wonderful new friends through Graham. Oh, and I've even heard some interesting stories from a lot of my newfound friends who I encountered as a result of Graham himself, you know. And I'm fortunate to have friends such as the lovely Tony Stark, who's Oklahoma, Mary and Glenn. I haven't heard from them in a while, but I'm hoping they're well, and they're classic car owners, and they also like classic cars like that of myself. Even though I'm not a classic car owner myself, I take a great thrilling pleasure. Sorry about the cars. I take a great thrilling pleasures in going to classic car shows and things, whichever one I can go to. And there's a Sandra Parrott, Virginia-based, who sadly is going through a lot of trouble because her mother got terminal cancer. Poor Sandra. Lovely Sandra. And Mrs. Murphy. Oh, who really went through a lot, poor Mrs. Murphy, who had a serious cancer ordeal in the final days of her working career as a nurse, which led to, hear this, some of you already know this, but Mrs. Murphy's cancer ordeal, colon cancer, led to a profound weight loss to 6.5 stone, or about 90 odd pounds. And I was like, oh, Mrs. Murphy, I'm extremely sorry about what happened. He said, thank you. He said, and as you could imagine, I felt very frail and fragile since that weight loss. I mean, awful ordeal. Sweet, lovely lady. And I've got some funny memories about Mrs. Murphy. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I'm hoping the lovely dear lady is okay. And sometimes whenever we conversed on and off together, I would sometimes... Honestly, it's a fond memory of mine. And I can laugh about it. I really can. You know, what have you. So... Sorry about the car movement. Wait till these cars are gone and then it's be a bit quieter to get talking. Sorry if it's disturbed the remembrance. But, sorry, wait a moment. You know, one of my most favourite memories, whenever I'd had conversant moments with Mrs. Murphy, sometimes I'd chat, and it was sometimes late at night, if we'd sometimes chat, and then sometimes the reply would be, Foxy, what are you doing up so late? Oh, my word. Well, I find it quite amusing, actually. I dare say, it's certainly amusing, you know, by and large whatnot. And she's like, what are you doing up so late? She has that, in that motherly instinct, she did it, I would say. She used to say that in that motherly instinct. Lovely, lovely lady. And, oh, very, very sweet lady, Mrs. Murphy. You know, and I feel fortunate. I may not have heard from her in a while, but I feel fortunate to have her as a friend. Really, I do. And I never would take Mrs. Murphy's friendship for granted, R1. I never would. So who was it? There was Tony, Mary, Sandra, Mrs. Murphy. Oh, yes. Michelle Pope. Oh. Oh, is she wonderful. If it wasn't for Graham, I never would have encountered this lovely lady for sure. Very, very nice lady, sweet lady. And there's a moment, whenever I talk about it, I'm almost crying. Because I cried when she said it to me. Happy tears, that was. I conversed with her that November 2023 evening. And she said, and this is one of the things she said to me which really will touch me for a lifetime to come. What she said. Because I knew someone who was of those things, and she said to me, "You are the epitome of a true gentleman, through and through," which I'd like to say is very refreshing in this day and age. Oh, what a touching sentiment. Because there was somebody who a lot of you may know. There was only one man, and one man who I knew, who was the epitome of a true gentleman, and that was nobody other than my wonderful late grandfather, because he was all of those things. He was really one of the truest of gents one could have ever encountered, from my experience of whenever I spent time with him when growing up. He was certainly the epitome of a true gentleman, my late grandfather Edmund. And if one could see here, I'm actually wearing his jumper in this very video. Well, of course, it's hardly visible because I've got my jacket on and I'm outside. You know, and it's cold, so the woolly jumper is needed, and a bit irrelevant as it is, but wool socks and corduroy trousers were needed too. If one could see, and brogues, yeah. But yeah, you know, very, very sweet lady. I mean, I love Michelle dearly. I haven't heard from her very often. We don't chat all the time, or we haven't been conversant regularly, but every time I've heard from her or conversed with her, oh, I just enjoy it dearly. I mean, I couldn't thank Michelle enough for those nice things she said to me. It means so much, more than anyone could know. Oh, really nice. I'm not going to cry on this, I'm really not, you know. Oh, and who was it there? There's a lovely Scots lady, Rosie. It was a Catherine, I don't know if she's still here, and I don't know, but I heard she had cancer a few years ago. It was inoperable. Poor, poor Catherine. I don't know if she's still with us now. She might have passed away, but she was a nice lady. And Caroline Allen, I haven't heard from Caroline Allen for a very, very long time. She's Canadian, but I loved Caroline Allen, and I remember on a live stream of mine when she came on, she said, "Hello, handsome." Oh, what a compliment there. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for saying I'm handsome. And there was a Rosie, another Rosie in Alabama, but I haven't heard from her in a good long while. Hoping she's alright. And there's some other wonderful friends I include. Jodie, my mod. Pamela Garza, who's also my mod. I have the privileged fortune of her being my mod. Pamela Garza. And then there's Harriet. Lovely sweet Canadian lady Harriet. Sorry about the background. But I'll get to the next sentence soon. And to my next point, what have you, or that. Oh, the wind on the leaves. Harriet is a very sweet lady. Both of us have something in common. And that thing that we have in common is both of us were very fond of our late grandfathers when growing up in childhood. And when she heard about me opening up about my late grandfather, she's ever since had a soft spot for me, which little did I expect until it happened. And she said, "Foxy, I have a soft spot for you. Since hearing about you talking about your grandfather, I was very close to mine." And she's my mod. And there's lovely Ria, who I've known ever since I joined Graham's community from start to finish. I mean, I'm going to miss Graham's community. I mean, I should have left that to the end, but you know. Lovely Ria, who I haven't heard from in a great while, so I'm hoping Ria's okay. Hoping she's alright. And what's next? Who's next? There's Stephen Magnus. And there's a Sandra Smith. I think she's from Graham and Fiona. Well, I think she's from Graham. There's a huge list of newfound friends I've encountered as a result of the wonderful Graham. Denise Motley, Yorkshire lady, or Yorkshire lass, Denise Motley, Alison Boydell, and there's a Heidi Lee, I think it is, Heidi Lee, I think it's Heidi Lee. And sometimes whenever she sees a video or a community post I've done, whenever I hear from her, and she's like, oh, she said some of the nicest things, and she said something, little did I realise, and she said, I really must get out and about a bit more. I think you're a good I can't remember what she said, I was an encouragement for that. I don't know, but yes, as far as I'm certain. No, she's a very nice lady, sweet lady. Her encouragement is what keeps me motivated. And another great friend I encountered as a result of the late wonderful Captain Graham, the Baron Hesketh himself. Oh, the very, very sweetly lovely lady, Wanda Badgerow. Wanda, she said some of the nicest things to me. She said, you are the Foxy, you are the perfect gentleman any mother would want for their daughter to marry. Oh, that's touching. Oh my. And since she found out about my content, hear this is a true story, hear this. Wanda herself, lovely Wanda. Sorry about that. The moment lovely Wanda found out about my content, she recommended my content to her lovely granddaughter, who has since taken an interest in me. And she said if she ever got the chance, she would date me at whatever chance she could get, and actually referred to me as a very handsome man. That's a very nice compliment. Thank you. Thank you, Wanda, and thank you to her granddaughter, lovely Sophie. And who else is it? The Sophie Ray, another Sophie Ray, my wombat. The wombat, the lovely little wombat, Sophie Ray. Yeah, because she's got a very, very sweet, she's just sweet-natured. Very, very sweet-natured. And there are quite a few Christines through the lovely late Captain Graham, the Baron Hesketh himself. A Christine Suckup, Christine Prince, Christine Whitfield. Is it Whitfield? I don't know. Oh my, very, very complicated, you know. And there's quite a great many Christines who I'd encountered. Christine Suckup and her cat Clyde, obviously, and Christine Prince, Christine Whitfield. Or Whitfield, I don't know. Sorry about that, cars. Honestly, quite a few Christines, and about 3 Carols. I used to think it was just 2, but actually there were 3 Carols involved. Carol Casey, Australian resident Carol Casey, very nice lady she is, sweet lady. Carol Casey is very sweet lady. Carol Tapia, American. She's American, Carol Tapia. Carol Donaldson, Scott. I think she's originally from Graham. I don't know. I never found out, but I don't know. But I'll need to find out from Carol herself, once the moment allows. And Maureen Ingleston, lovely Maureen Ingleston, Dawn Marie Smith, you know, those wonderful people. Is it Pauline Ryan? I think she's from Graham, as far as I'm certain. Pauline Ryan. Diane Peck, London resident. I am going to try and visit the museum you recommended to me, Diane, whenever I can, and for whenever I'm over in London, I will try and visit it. And I've not forgotten the recommendation of the museum you recommended to me. So, I've not forgotten, and I will try and visit it whenever I'm over in London. So, Diane Peck, lovely, lovely lady, Diane Peck. But I think she went through a lot of trouble, poor lady, and now has been confined to a mobility scooter because she underwent an operation that went wrong and it damaged the optic nerves in it. So it's affected her mobility severely. I mean, poor Diane. Poor lady Diane. And there's Avis Smith, Australian lady Avis Smith, lovely lady, sweet lady, she is. And there's Gareth D, I think it's Gareth D, Blacksmith, who I'm also personally in touch with from time to time, and I've had a few private video chats with him. Very, very nice man, sweet man, friendly man, who recently had his 75th birthday and sadly a technophobe, but this, you know, even I'm slightly technophobic with some technology, but very, very nice man, and he's a cat owner like myself. He's got a big ginger cat called Basil. As the little monster, as Blacksmith would say. And another couple who I found out as a result of Graham, I've known them ever since I joined, start to finish, Marcy and Melvin Toms. Oh, Marcy and Melvin are one of the greatest friends I could have encountered as a result of the late Captain Graham the Baron Hesketh himself. Really, very, very sweet, very friendly couple. Pet owners they are. They did have a dog who sadly died earlier this month, Sky, lovely little girl Sky. Now it's the Master Wookie and Lady Lily, or Lunatic Lily, because of her violence. Watch it, Lily. But that's another story. Oh, God. It's not funny if Marcy gets bitten or scratched by it. Lily, obviously not. Oh. Sorry about the car background noises, sorry about that. And there are some other lovely newfound friends, Ginger Grutius, and sometimes says, hello, Sugar Boog, to me. Very nice endearment. She's a Texan lady. Hi, Sugar Boog, is what she sometimes said. And there's Mad Papa, Paps, lovely lady Paps, who has a son the same age as me, by the way. Who else have we got that I'm missing out? Hopefully not too many. Karen, my cat's name is Karen, that is. Floridian resident. Coffee, Granny loves coffee. Deborah Coleman, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman, who, you hear this wonderful story, and what's surprising, or merely surprising that is, ever since I encountered Deborah in 2023, I didn't find this out until 2024, last year, Deborah introduced my content to her two wonderful children, Sebastian and Cheyenne, and I think Michelle Pope's got a son called Sebastian as well, as far as I'm aware. She'll let me know in case I'm wrong. He's well into his 30s, Michelle's Sebastian, as far as I'm certain. But this is a different story. Deborah, you hear this about lovely, lovely Deborah. I already said she introduced my content to her two children, Sebastian and Cheyenne. Cheyenne's, who's a little girl, by the way. She's a little fully grown girl. Well, why I say she's a little fully grown girl is because Cheyenne is much shorter than that of Deborah. Deborah's not a tall lady, no. Deborah's actually shorter than I. But she knew a man, a full 7 foot, hear this. She knew a guy who was a full 7 foot. I mean, he's since sadly died. He died in a car accident. Tommy Wayman was the guy's name. But yes, a full 7 foot she knew the guy, and she's only a mere 5'6". But Cheyenne, on the other hand, is a little 5 feet 2. Oh, bless. Oh. A little daughter. Oh. A little daughter she could still very much protect, almost physically. I don't say this as mockery or discriminatory, I certainly don't. But, you know, can you imagine if you've got a daughter who's undershot that of your height, like that of Deborah's daughter, Cheyenne? Oh. How could you imagine? No, but Deborah's very loving. And every time I've heard from Cheyenne, she really is very fondly appreciative of her dear mother. Really, she is. Deborah, you know, very, very loving lady. She's a cat owner as well, by the way. So, which is probably why we generally get on quite well. Because we've got a few things in common. And, you know, we just genuinely get on. And I think, and also Deborah said something, it's probably a bit personal to say, but Deborah said something, a fairly personal physicality trait of hers, where she said she was blue-eyed and blonde. And I'm guessing she's pretty. She's the same age as my friend, one of my best friends, Jonathan Clements, by the way. But I think, I haven't seen what she looks like, but I think she likely looks younger than what Jonathan looks like, because sadly at 63, Jonathan does not age well due to poor health. We had a stroke, you see. You know, and is on daily meds, sadly, as many of you know, but, you know, it is what it is. And there's Nutmeg, lovely Nutmeg. I don't hear from her all the time, but off and on I do. She's a very hard worker in a government working position, and also does city council and voluntary work and all that. So she's a busy lady, and she's a cat owner too. Blinky, Sir Cat. And there's Sylvie from California. Bonnie Boats. Bonnie, if you're watching, my loveliest Bonnie, come 2027 or 2028, either February of 2027 or 2028, I shall be going over to the United States of America. I'm going to do it before the decade is out. I'm definitely going to do it before the decade is out, my loveliest Bonnie. Bonnie is oh. Oh my word. I mean, I could only be too gladly pleased to talk about lovely Bonnie. I mean, really, I could. I mean, I dare say I could certainly be privileged and gladly and pleased to talk about the loveliest Lady Bonnie on the hill. Is, you know, she says some of the nicest things to me, Bonnie. Really, I just love Bonnie so much. I really do. Oh. If I could, honestly, if she was sitting with me right now, I'd let her come in my video. And I'm trying not to sound like an inappropriate creep, because I'm not an inappropriately silly creep. I might be outspokenly silly at times, admittedly, but, and all that, what have you, so, sorry about the cars in the background. Hope it's not ruined the tribute too much. But Bonnie, if I could, I'd give her a big tight hug if I ever could. I really would. She would certainly get one from me if I when I run into her, and definitely a nice big kiss on the cheek from me as well is what she'd get. I'm not trying to sound creepy. Oh God, that was probably a buzzer. A buzzerfly or a buzzer wasp, but whatever it was. Get away, shoo! Sorry about that. Oh dear. No, she really says some of the nicest things to me. I hear from Bonnie off and on whenever I can. And one of the nicest things that Bonnie said to me was, I look forward to seeing you in America. We'll have a giggle, and I would just love, it would be so nice to hear your voice in person. That's, oh. She's very, very sweetly outgoing, lovely Bonnie. Really, she is. I mean, really, I mean that, saying that about her. You know. And there's lovely Amy, New Yorker Amy. She is lovely, Amy. Lovely, lovely Amy. Who is a lovely wife to her dearly loved husband. And, has a household full of pets, 2 cats and a bird. Keep the cats away from the bird, because the cat could catch the bird. So long as they get on, that's the main thing. And also, you hear this, who looks after her 95-year-old mother full-time. I mean, what? It couldn't get any nicer or sweeter than that. Amy, I love you dearly. You do wonderfully well. From looking after a very elderly 95-year-old mother, well, your 95-year-old mother, who is very, very much, as I know from you, cherished and loved by you and your dearly loved husband, and of course your household of pets, or fur babies, as you'd say. Really, you are just wonderful, and I just love you very dearly. Amy, I really do. If I could, you'd get a nice long hug from me. She's very nice, Amy. You know, whenever I've heard from her on and off, she says some of the nicest things about me, whether it's community post, video. She's sometimes been on a live stream or 2 of mine. Never mind if she hasn't recently, but if you ever want to come on a live of mine, Amy, whenever it fits, obviously, your availability, and obviously I know you are generally, generally, obviously, have the duty with looking after your dear mother and the pets and other New York life, what have you. You know, you are always welcome in my content whenever you feel like it. My door is always open to you. Really, it is. It's always open to you, Amy, and I mean that. And there's Heather Arredondo. Oh, she's just unfailingly courteous lady. Heather Arredondo, very, very nice, sweetly loving lady. And really, some of the things she says do captivate and touch me greatly. I mean, she really says some of the nicest things. Unfailingly means well. Really, she unfailingly means well. And that's why I've more often than not said, "Oh, Heather. Oh, my lovely, lovely Heather." It captivates me, a lot of the things she says. It greatly captivates me. All that. And there's Pamela Morrow. Oh, very, very nice lady, Pamela Morrow. She's Canadian, by the way. She's Canadian. And like me, we have something in common. We're cat owners. And she said some of the nicest things about myself, my dear mother. And she's got a happy life. She's got a grandson, and she's due to have another grandchild next year. She's got the boys and other family. She did go through a very, very sad memory, because I think she lost her mother during COVID, very sadly. Poor Pamela. Pamela Morales is really sorry for the loss of your dear mother, Pamela, and hoping you find strength and healing for when the time happens. Very, very sorry for your loss, my loveliest Pamela. And then there's, who is that? Lovely Quake girl, New Zealand. Heather Griffin, New Zealand. Quite a few Kiwis and Australians, Aussies, who I've known as a result of Graham. That is. And, oh my word, there's so many more. But I'd still like to list out a few more. Oh my. There's another Christine I forgot, Christine Townsend. Nice Christine Townsend. And there's Lils, lovely Lils from Lincolnshire. Nice lady. And she said some of the nicest things. She said that I was handsome. Very nice lady. Wendy Dossett. Wendy Dossett. She's Dorset, just to let you know. Wendy Dossett. And there's Christy Caspian. And one lady I forgot to mention. Lovely, lovely Susan Reich, who means well. I've known Susan ever since I joined Graham's content from start to finish up until he died. I remember that live. That first time I partook, I saw her on the live. But the first one I conversed with was with Rosie in Scotland. And I'm going to share that highlighted memory in a moment. That is. And who else is there? So many, many wonderful. Susan is unfailingly means well. Lovely, lovely Susan. I love Susan very dearly. I really do. You know. I mean, she always says some of the nicest things. You know. She never does wrong. She's very, very innocent, Susan. Very, very innocent. Nice, nice lady. Lovely lady. And then there's Meow. Lovely Meow. And the Linda, I think it's Linda, is it Linda Lawson or Linda Laws? I don't know. Something like that. And there's another Linda, who I mentioned, and Gillian, lovely Gillian, who, she said something quite lovely to me. She said, whenever I'm not going out, I just watch your bus and train videos. On a certain day she's not going out into town, whether it's to shopping or to see the doctor or meet friends for lunch or dinner or a meal, what have you. Whenever she's not doing those things, she just watches my content to keep her occupied, to avoid boredom. Honestly, Gillian, you are quite the wonder, Gillian, aren't you? Oh, yes. And there's Cheryl, Arizona. Very, very nice lady, Sherry is. I mean, really, very sweet lady. Very, very sweet lady. And all that. Footsie. I encountered Footsie through Graham and through other content creators as well. Lovely Footsie. So, you know, yes. Really, you know, a lot of his friends who I encountered through Graham, some of the nicest friends I could have ever asked for. Really, they are. And there's a Mary Carper, and there's a Marcia Coe, and there are a few Sussex residents I encountered as well, and I think Susie Q is one of them. I don't know. I certainly don't know. And there's a Dimitri in Australia. A George Edward, nice man, courteous, friendly man, George Edward. You know, all the... Whew, I'm almost out of breath talking about them. All the friends I've made. You know, really, some of the greatest friends I encountered as a result of Graham. The most wonderful, greatest friends of all time. I mean, truly wonderful friends. I mean, and I consider myself extremely grateful and thankful to have all of you as good friends. And here's a highlighted memory. The first time I encountered Graham's content, he was live streaming, 1st of September 2023, 18 months before he sadly passed away. I was on the live, and there was a conversation about Jaws going on, a talk about Jaws, and I was like, it was quite rude, naughty what I said. I was like, oh my goodness, Jaws scared the shit out of me, which it did, it truly did when I saw it, despite not being around, because I'm 24 years of age, you see. I'm nearly 40 years younger than Graham. Some of you may not believe this. I know I don't look like I'm 24, and I certainly don't come across as it, but yes, I'm 24 now, you know, and Jaws came out 26 years before I was born. Just, 1975 was when it came out. Or was it 1976? I don't know. But one can correct me. Anyway, no, someone was talking about Jaws. I can't remember who. It was a lovely lady in the chat, nice lovely lady, who meant well. And I was like, oh dear, Jaws scared the shit out of me. And then a few comments down, and I said, I'm sorry about the Brian Blessed swearing behaviour. And then it was Rosie in Scotland, who comes with the channel title name Rosie's Cottage, and then she said, ooh, I love Brian Blessed. Brian Blessed, good it's alive! Good it's alive! Good it's alive! And then after I heard her say that, we just began to converse. We chatted and conversed as if we were old friends, Rosie and I. I mean, I remember this as vividly as I can. Honestly, that was quite the highlight. It's pretty funny as well. Oh, what a fond memory to have. Yes, no. But it's quite the highlight. Got to calm down a little. And I'll probably name a few more friends, but otherwise it's going to get too long. But at least I got a certain memory out there that really stands out to me. Lovely Lisa Perch. I haven't heard from Lisa in a while, but I'm hoping the dear lady's okay. And then there's a Linley. Linley Kilpatrick is her surname. Linley Kilpatrick. Nice lady. Very nice lady she is. Sweet lady. She's got cats, by the way. She's Liverpool. She's a Liverpool resident, Scouser. And Lisa's Derbyshire, Chesterfield, I think is where she's based, Chesterfield. I don't think that's where she is, as far as I'm certain. And all that. You know, I mean, I've met some wonderful new friends. I mean, I count myself extremely fortunate to have encountered all of these lovely people. And I wouldn't change having a friendship with them for the world. Really, I would not. I certainly wouldn't in any way or any shape or form. And Teresa Barker, lovely Teddy. I wouldn't change having these friends for the world. I certainly would not. But if there's any way to describe lovely Graham, brilliant content, very interesting and genuinely very consummate content, which is what the world so desperately needs in this day and age. Consummate, wholesome, friendly content. And as we take the time remembering Graham on his birthday anniversary, this time next year would have marked his 65th birthday anniversary special, but on his 64th heavenly birthday and the first birthday anniversary since his saddening death, and if many of you didn't know, he shares the same birthday as John Cleese from Monty Python. That is, just to let you know. His birthday coincided with that of John Cleese, the very, very famously funny comedian. Oh, and another friend who, I'm sorry I missing out people, John Griffin. John Griffin and his wife. Very friendly couple. Very decent and friendly couple, John, Mr. and Mrs. Griffin. John particularly. Very nice man, John is. Friendly man. And Jason. Is it Jason Southwest? I can't remember his surname, but nice man, Jason. And all that. So, some brilliant newfound friends I've encountered. And HRH Catherine. Is it Kathleen or Catherine? I don't know. I can't remember. So, yeah. And a Victoria. Lovely Victoria. There are a few Victorias. A Victoria in Australia and a Victoria, I think, who's either Irish and English, but lives in France with her dearly loved husband. But sometimes goes to London to see her daughter. That is. But as we take the time with remembering our wonderful late Captain Graham the Baron Hesketh himself, not only did he, as I said, did one of the greatest things, which is what our world so desperately needs, consummate and wholesome content, that is. But one thing I will say is, thank you very, very much, Graham. When looking back now, encountering you was one of the happiest memories of my lifetime. And why it's also another reason why encountering Graham's content was one of the happiest moments of my lifetime was because the year I encountered it, I had only just fully healed from going through troubling circumstances. I'd only just fully healed up from going through what was a critically low point in my life, you know. I mean, although I had healed at this point, I think had I known Graham during my low point, I think it probably would have sped up the healing process, potentially. I really think it would have. You know, I really do think so. And I truly mean that when saying it. I truly mean that. You know, I truly do. But obviously, as Graham knew, it was as a result of my bestie, David, that helped me with my healing recovery. David Scott, my bestie, whom ever since we met in 2021, you know, had proved instrumentally useful when he introduced me into the things that I enjoy doing. The classic car, steam rally, historic commercial, veteran car run, museum, event attendings, as many of you know, and extra additional bus rallies, what have you. Yes, but that's another story. But as we take the time with remembering Graham, most importantly, thank you very, very much, Graham, for all of your wonderful and extremely interesting content, from showing around Gibraltar, your airgun review, talking about your experiences in the army, and even though you may have been ex-con, you very, very positively proved that it doesn't matter where you start, what matters most is where you end up. And that's the philosophy I would certainly say to all ex-cons who have never once or never since reoffended on that. But if there's any way to describe you, Graham, as you're looking down on all of us, and as we look up to you now as you're flying high, happily, with your gods, you are the epitome of kindness and friendliness in a world that so desperately needs it. And that is one of the best ways we could describe you. And one of the best ways, on the whole, to describe your innate depth of wonderful qualities. Thank you, Graham. Thank you very much, and a happy heavenly birthday. Thank you all most sincerely, kindly for watching. Some of you might question the necessity in making this very video, but for those of you who enjoyed watching, or for those of you, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And in fond and in loving memory of the late Captain Graham the Baron Hesketh, 27th of October, 1961, 4th of March, 2025. He is now flying high with his gods, as his gods have come with him. Thank you most faithfully, sincerely for watching. Thank you all for watching. And as Graham used to say, as the wonderful late Graham used to say, at the end of nearly every video of his, or pretty much every video and every live stream, wait till the noise is gone, one of the very nice and best things he'd said, and it touches me to this day, just how very kindly and down-to-earth saying he would say, "Good night, and may your God go with you." What a touching sentiment. Thank you all for watching, and in loving memory of the late Captain Graham the Baron Hesketh himself. He will never be forgotten, and will always be fondly loved and remembered by all of us who have had the privileged fortune in watching his content. Thank you for watching. And one more thing to say, thank you for your service for when you served in the army, Graham. And we remember you on this day.